The first year I have really wrestled with predictions because there are so many things going on that it was just real hard to get a real good grasp. And it just seemed like it was all over the place. This is going to be, quote, hard times, but it's going to be good times. One of the things that, and this is the best analogy, if you have a car or if you have a house, in your house you can have a window that needs to be repaired, but you go, oh, I'll just wait. Then you have a cabinet that needs to be painted, and you go, oh, I'll wait. And then a light switch that needs to be fixed, you go, oh, I'll wait. And the next thing you know, you've got all these things that is just causing your house to just kind of be in disrepair. Well, that's kind of the way this country has been run for so many years. And I can say things about America because I'm an American, okay? Just because you ignore something doesn't mean it goes away, okay? One of the reasons we have the president that we have is because people ignored a lot of things that people were asking for and talking about, okay? And they never, ever fixed it. A few years ago in Satori, someone asked, well, is it going to ever be exposed, some of the things that the Bushes have done? I said, well, yeah, at some point. And in my book, there is a little chapter about dealing with things from the past. But this is not only about exposing things that, quote, the Bush has done. This is about exposing a lot of things that a lot of administrations have done. And this is not a political savvy thing, but a lot of stuff, we wouldn't be going through the pains today if these issues hadn't been dealt with yesterday. Got it? Anybody made it yet? All right. I used to go to a Baptist church so I could take an offering after I'm done. On the international front, there is going to be more turmoil and unrest in the Middle East. And the Islamic states, there are going to be a lot more aggressive fighting, and they are going to be a lot more focused on their grab for power. Right now you have this group over here and that group over there, and if you ever ask them what they want, you can't get anybody to agree on what they want. But I think this is going to be more of an organized effort. I do feel like there is going to be a nuclear weapon that's going to go off in the Middle East. I don't think it's going to be extensive as in wiping people out. I don't know that it's going to even be as successful as they think it should be or would like for it to be, but it's going to be when used. America has been cutting its funding for international countries. They are now going to have to be accountable. There are going to be funds withdrawn, and we are going to start getting more bang for our buck for countries that we invest in. And I'm talking about the government as far as giving subsidies. Okay. What this is also going to do, there's almost going to be like a bidding war, and I don't particularly feel that we're going to lose allies or connections with third world countries, but you're going to have other countries that are going to take advantage of the opportunity that America is going to say, okay, we're going to give you $1 billion, we need $1 billion worth of something back. You're not going to take our $1 billion and not even say thank you. And you're going to have other countries that are going to be going, well, we'll give you this and this and this and this. I don't think we're going to lose third world connections. We're just going to start getting something back from them. Okay? This is the thing with the tax cut. The tax cut has been a long time coming. It is going to force a lot of looking at spending. And there is a backlash to the tax cut that's going to come in the form of American companies withdrawing. Okay? Now, there's going to be something else about that. Look for an international recession to start toward the end of this year, going into 19. It is going to have somewhat a lot to do with the tax cuts that we are getting as our companies start reevaluating if they're going to stay where they are or not. Syria. And I just kept walking around all morning going, Syria, Syria, Syria. And I was looking for something more specific, and the only thing I got was something bad, which is always happening out of Syria. And that's exactly what I said. Okay, God, something bad is always happening over in Syria. And the response was, this is going to be more noticeable. Okay. There are going to be tariffs on exports, which would be actually imports into our country, but it's going to be tariffs on export, and it's going to all be based on countries trying to make up for the revenue that they are losing because people will be losing jobs over in these third world and some of the other countries. There are going to be countries that are going to go into default. This is going to be a little bit different because if you notice when the, I think it was Greece or one of the other countries went into bankruptcy, the other countries weren't coming along to, quote, bail them out. It's going to be kind of the same thing this time. You're not going to see countries coming together to bail countries out. Now, on the national front, there is going to be a recession. Not today, not tomorrow, but there's one coming. This is going to be a good year for books. And I'm not talking about nooks and Googling and Google reading. I'm actually talking about books. And I don't know exactly how extensive that's going to be, but it's going to be a variety of really good books that are going to be coming out, and you're going to find people actually investing in them. In the election, there's going to be a shift in power, but not necessarily control. And the difference being, there is going to be a lot more negotiations going on. The Health and Human Services, there is going to be a big problem that is going to surface concerning theft. And I'm going to define theft as conspiracy to defraud. And this defrauding would be larger than what you would normally see. And it's going to be very, what I'm going to call, organized. Prepare for the recession. It can be minimized. The best way to minimize the impact of the recession is to cut your debt. Cut your debt.
Yes.
If you don't have any debt, I have some bills I'll be glad to bring over. There is going to be, and this is going to be really interesting because it's not going to happen at the same time, but there is going to be a certain amount of deflation that is going to come from the tax cut. And that is as corporations readjust their tax rates to find out, okay, how are we going to reallocate this? And so almost like, I almost want to say like a pricing war, but there's going to be price cuts. Don't get excited about that because there's another slide coming. Products are also going to be going up. That comes from, and I was very, very conflicted when this was coming, but I can really get an understanding about this. The prices going up has a lot to do with when we stop getting imports, a lot of imports from other countries. the cost of labor over here is going to go up. And which means that there is going to be a lot of uncertainty for not only competition for the product, but the pricing of it. Tariffs on imports and exports came up again. There is going to be layoffs, and I don't think it's going to be super significant, but people that thought that the corporate tax cut, which by the way needed to be done about 40, 50 years ago, the corporate tax was going to be a panacea to solve everything, but it has a lot to do with what's going to be going on in the labor market. There is going to be, and this is going to actually be more like going into 1920, but there's going to be a retweaking of the tax code. I'm going to also tell you, because the changes that are, this is only the first of the changes that are going to be made. Immigration crackdown. It is not going to go away. In fact, it is going to really increase. And I'm going to kind of repeat this. If they had dealt with this issue 40, 50 years ago, all of these issues that are on the table now would not be pushing down at us right now. Here is the thing about the president and a lot of the stuff that's going on. There are a lot of people around the president that are using this time period to push their own agenda. I'm also going to tell you that when it comes to a lot of the stuff that was happening in the Russian situation, you may find this as a surprise, but the president was totally clueless. Okay? He was totally clueless. I'm not standing up for him, not sitting down for him, but it's almost with the whole thing about, some of y'all, most of y'all are too young to know this, okay? But there was a president named Richard Nixon who actually got impeached, and one of the things that got him impeached was he believed in the power of the presidency to protect his friends, and it was actually his friends that took him under, even though he participated. Okay? And that's kind of some of this stuff. The president, Lord knows he does his own. He does enough on his own. This is something I don't think he was totally aware of. And some of the times when he goes, no, because he wasn't aware. One of the things about the scandal also, there's going to kind of be a rush for a trial, and it's something Timothy said about Mueller. Well, one of the things that's taking a lot of the life out of the Russian investigation, it is fact-finding, but basically anyone convicted is going to be pardoned. Okay, so it's not going. It's almost going to be an effort in futility. Yeah, we talked about a country defaulting on its debt. There's going to be some cities, and this is more than one in the United States, that is going to go into bankruptcy. And they are actually, some of this is going to be kind of political, as a way to get from under some pension obligations and some other things. In the with the NFL and their balloting, you're going to actually start seeing more crowd participation in it. Now, concerning the state, how am I doing on time? Concerning the state, There is going to be a sex and bribery misconduct scandal. And it kind of goes back to what Chuck said about this stuff. It's been pushed aside, basically because nobody was doing anything about it. And I will tell you now, a lot of it, I'm not saying everybody's credible, but a lot of it that's coming up, it happened. Okay. In the state of Texas, there's going to be a child protective service issue, and kind of a semi-scandal because it's going to involve fraud and something to do with either the placing or the funding of children. There's going to be a prison system scandal that's going to involve several counties. There is going to be a housing slowdown. I did not say a housing stop, but a housing slowdown. Police misconduct is there's getting ready to be what I'm going to call several undercover operations. And this fell under my state prediction, so apparently this is going to be something that is going to be coming out at the state level. Concealed guns. There is getting ready to be some type of arrangement where it's going to be reciprocal between states, so that you will not have to worry about carrying the gun in Texas and then having a license to carry it in Louisiana. On the local front, there's going to be an issue over tax spending. Not tax revenue, not the taxes going up, but it's going to be questions and hard questions over allocating the spending. Going to be 2 new companies that are going to be moving to what I'm going to say Tarrant County, and what's significant, they are going to be employing between 300 and 1,000 people each. There's getting ready to be a heavy marketing of public services, and I'm taking it that will probably have to do with somebody wanting them to be more accountable about tax spending. Housing slowdown, and that's locally, and it's still going to be a housing market, so if you are looking to sell your house, even though the market softens, if you are firm, you will still get a good price. There is going to be a movie that is going to be shot in Fort Worth. I have no idea what the movie is going to be, but it's very specific that it is Fort Worth. This is a good year for the arts because we're getting ready to see a lot of local talent come forth. Good time for starting a business, but not a food business. It needs to focus around being a service, which would mean like a plumber, air conditioner guy, if your yard, something that is going to be dealing with you providing a personal service for someone. We're also going to see a real major push toward better customer service. Going to be a scandal involving several drug treatment facilities, and it really has to do with sex going on, drugs going on, and ineffective treatment, and that is of the patients. This I find very interesting, so y'all have to call and let me know about this. A firebug in Fort Worth, and that would actually mean someone that is deliberately going out and doing arson. And in order for me to pick up on it, it would have to be more than 1 or 2 houses. It would have to be something where people get nervous about it. And the person in front. Lottery tickets. There's going to be 2 winners, $500 a piece. 20 winners at $100 a piece. This was just too cool. There is going to be 10 winners that are going to get $50 a piece. You don't have to tell me who you are when this happens, but just got a call because this is odd. But it's going to be 3 people that's going to get those 10 tickets. Then there's going to be 12 people that's just kind of at random that are going to get $50 winnings. In here, there's going to be 2 new houses, 5 used houses, and 16 people are going to move. And that's it. That's the story.